Well, folks, what a day. I am not going to beat around the bush. I don't know how long I'm going to make it here. I stick to my word that I plan on that we're going to do a post game after each and every game. I can tell you this, folks. You need to know this right off the bat. I'm going to be joined by Coach Patterson tomorrow. Well, actually today, Sunday, 7 p.m. Excuse me, 7 p.m. Sunday. All right. So he will not be with us tonight. That was a wise choice by Coach Patterson. Thankfully, he had made that decision a long time ago. But given the circumstances, I think he made the right choice. All right. We are going to do this. This is what we're going to do for the next 20 to 30 minutes. I cannot promise you any more than that. All right. We're going to take your calls if you have some. All right. I see we got one waiting here on StreamYard, which is great. Happy to talk with our listeners here. But I just want to say it's been a long, long day. All right. If you caught the live stream from Kinnick during the first weather delay, and then we said the second weather delay, and then the third weather delay, and I eventually left. We left the stadium. I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't deal with it. So we left, and yeah, I'm thankful I got back to a warm environment and a dry environment, and man alive, that game ended up being what, a 7-hour game, something like that. Incredible. But we're here talking about it. Iowa defeating Nevada 27-0, despite three, if I count it right, 3 weather delays, all lightning related. The rain was constant all game long. Although I don't know at the end if it was raining. I really wasn't paying too close of attention, to be quite honest about that. But Iowa looked better. I mean, it's hard to judge in a game like this. I'm not going to read much into the 27-0 score. I know a lot of people on Twitter talking about how great Spencer Petras played, and look, I thought he was okay. I didn't think he was great. I think we use these ultimatums a lot too much, and maybe I do as well. But I thought he was okay. This is a really bad Nevada defense, folks. So, decent stat line for Spencer. Nothing crazy. Nothing crazy for the Iowa offense. Iowa offense didn't hit 400 yards in the game. This is a Nevada defense that gave up 600 yards to an Incarnate Word last week. So, 27-0. The defense just continues to impress. The special teams unit is phenomenal. We've said that week after week after week. That is absolutely the truth. The special teams unit is phenomenal. Torrey Taylor is phenomenal. Terry Roberts is phenomenal. Cooper DeJean is phenomenal. This has an opportunity. Get rid of this. This has an opportunity to be one of the best special teams units I think LeVar Woods has ever had, and one of the best defensive units that Phil Parker has ever had. That's saying something, because those two guys have been really good since they've been here, and we just can't say enough about it. Let's, as we await whatever the next 30 minutes are going to hold for us, we hit our first caller here. Ryan is on the phone. Ryan, you stayed, you braved the delays, you braved everything involved, and you're here with us at 3 Eastern, 2 Central time to talk Hawkeye football.
Hey, Corey, thanks for taking my call. I think I aged 3 years since this game started. It felt like a long time ago when the family and I sat down to watch it. They've been long in bed. I can't go to sleep when the Hawkeyes might be on. Had no idea if they were going to finish the game out or not. Couple thoughts. Obviously, Caleb really gives us a lot of hope, at least if nothing else, as a home run hitter. I was real curious. I didn't hear why LaShawn didn't play. Was he hurt? I didn't hear.
Yeah, I think he was dinged up. I don't know what the injury was. I just saw he was a late scratch.
Okay. Uh, the one concern I guess I do have is mainly on the offensive line. If you take the 55 and the 40-yard touchdown run out of the equation and just look at what our raw rushing was, it was 2 yards a carry against an awful defense. So, and I thought Logan Jones really struggled blocking as well. Couple times he was just dominated, and
Logan Jones is struggling snapping, Ryan.
I know,
That
and I'm talking, and yeah, snapping, of course, but also the D tackles were just going right through him if you go back and watch when Spencer got sacked. Spencer, sure, he looked better. It's not an awful stat line. Again, pretty bad defense. He did have some drops. Laporta actually kind of disappointed me a little bit on a couple of those drops, but I don't know. He would have had a big interception had Reganey not stolen that awesome 46-yard pass, which, makes his stat line look a little more respectable.
Sure.
Rutgers is not, considered a top tier Big Ten team, but going into their house,
they
defend. Absolutely. Yeah. And every year this is kind of a game that you would definitely expect to win, maybe by 2 scores, 10 points to 14, whatever. Boy, I don't know. I mean, we got to score something. Maybe we get another home run shot out of Caleb. I'd like to see Keegan Johnson get a little more brought into the game plan. I'm sure they were just working him in this week, but I think he can be a real home run hitter for us as well. We gotta score some points. I mean, we gotta at least get 24. And boy, that just sounds like with this team still a real monumental effort. I don't really count today. Bad defense, and this game was such an anomaly that, I'm sure there are guys who are taking naps in between the 3 long delays.
Well, quite frankly, Ryan, and this is going to maybe depress some people who are excited about the fact that Iowa scored 27 points and put up, total yardage 337 really isn't that great,
right.
against Nevada. I mean, but I'm not also going to read into it the other way, because as you said, this is a wild, weird game. Clearly they were just trying to get out of Dodge in that second half. I'm not quite sure why Spencer's in there in the fourth quarter. I mean, I don't really get the point of that. I
don't. Yeah, I don't know why you couldn't do a 10, 12-yard pass out of Padilla in garbage time.
Ryan, I know that they'll say they wanted to get out of Dodge. They needed to get home. There's no reason to extend things. Well, then why not get Labus onto the field at least where he can hand the ball off? That's all you're doing. You're handing the ball off. I don't know. I know that's nitpicking.
Yeah, but it's almost just more at this point like a statement that this is my guy, come heck or high water.
Yeah, but honestly, Ryan, I agree with you to a large extent. I would sum this up by saying I think you can learn almost nothing from this game.
Exactly.
Almost nothing. I take almost nothing away from today's game. Nothing new. The defense is phenomenal, as I said at the outset. Special teams is phenomenal. Iowa has one of the best punters in the country. We knew that.
Hey, and we might have a kicker.
And Spencer Peach. Yeah, I will say that. See, I didn't learn that though, Ryan. That's one thing that I've had confidence in, and I'm disappointed that we hadn't seen Caleb Stevens before tonight. Ryan, if you watch my show,
Stevens.
What did I say?
Caleb Stevens.
Who's Caleb Stevens?
Drew Stevens.
I know, but who is Caleb Stevens? I know there's a Caleb Stevens. Why did I say Caleb? I've been trouting. Listen, it's 2:00 in the morning.
No, that's cool, man.
No, Drew Stevens. I've been touting Drew Stevens being the kicker for months, and I was disappointed we didn't see him for that 48-yard field goal against Iowa State. And I know
Yes.
that was a tough circumstance, but today was tough. You had a lot of that ball was wet. I don't care how much you clean it off. That's going to be a wet ball.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, his kicks look good, and he's got the biggest leg clearly. But I mean, I don't think we learned really much of anything besides Drew Stevens is as good as I thought he was, and Caleb Johnson is going to be as good as I thought he was going to be.
Right.
Like he looks the part. He's as physically as impressive of a running back that I've seen in an Iowa uniform since Sean Green. And no offense to Marcus Coker, I think Coker the one big year for Marcus, but I think Caleb Johnson has an opportunity to be really, really special.
Well,
And
and if there's anything that to that extent, Marcus Coker, excellent running back, good Lord, but he was very much a bruiser going through the tackles, and Caleb Johnson very well might be that combo back who can do that, but get that man in space. I mean, obviously, he's not going to break a 55-yarder and a 40-yarder every game, but I bet you that guy can break a 20-yarder a couple of times a game, very possibly, and still get 3.5, 4 yards a carry in between the tackles. The guy really looks the part. He's young. I kept thinking to myself, boy, I hope this could be, the next Cedric Shaw. Because Cedric Shaw was excellent as a freshman. 4,195 yards later, he's our all-time leading rusher because he played 4 years. And this guy, just Wisconsin, they'll churn out freshman running backs that are studs every 4 years, and I really hope this might just be our guy.
And to our next caller, I'm putting you on hold, caller. Yeah, I agree with you, and I'll say this: as I was watching the final quarter with a buddy of mine, I made the comment that, or he actually made the comment. He said, he's not just a bruiser, and again, I've called, and I'm not the only one who's touted him as such. He's got all the tools. Now, can he catch out of the backfield? That's something that we'll see, but like he's a guy who looks like a bruiser who's got top end speed.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that at an NFL level. And I know this is jumping the gun, but that's a guy like Derrick Henry. Look at a guy at a college level who has those traits. It's Braylon Allen. Those are two of the best backs in their respective leagues, albeit at completely different levels that you'd have. I think the bigger type backs that's sort of the new generation, new gen type running backs. You look at the guy for the Steelers right now. You look at certainly Leonard Fournette, what he did at LSU, and of course Derrick Henry, and now Braylon Allen at Wisconsin. I think Iowa's got a tweener, as I've been, that word. I know that's maybe a made up word, but he's a guy who can do it all. And boy, it's going to be fun to watch him for the next couple of years.
Absolutely. Hey, I know it's late and you have other callers. Thanks for taking my call, and thanks for at least coming on tonight.
Absolutely. Appreciate the call, Ryan. Thank you. All right. Before we get to our caller on hold, Danimal, thank you for the super chat. Danimal says, Hawks won me some money now, so now to share it with the best Iowa Hawkeye YouTube channel. Thank you, Danimal. Appreciate that. The super chat and the compliment. Thank you very much. Do appreciate it, and makes nights like this a lot easier. So thank you. T Hawkeye is with us. Good to see you here. DTO, go Hawks, class of 99 from Costa Rica. Nate brings up Gavin Williams. Not looking, looked a little tentative at times, kind of Tyler Goodson-esque at times, honestly. But yeah, Aaron Graves, boy, how about Aaron Graves late in the game? He got a lot more time, as did Jeremiah Pittman and Max Llewellyn. It's good to see some guys in there. I saw Noah Shannon didn't even. Hopefully, Noah Shannon's okay. I'm assuming they were just being cautious with him because I think he was sort of iffy coming into the game. He played, but there was no reason to keep him out there at 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning. Let's get to our next caller here. Thank you for calling from the Hawkeye of the Storm. Who's on the line?
Hi, my name's Matt. I'm out here from Omaha, Nebraska. I've been a Hawkeye fan since I was a little kid. I'll tell you what, it has still been one of the most wonderful things, blessing that God's given me, being able to see all the people who bullied me for being a Hawkeye fan get smashed against Oklahoma. But that being said, I've always rooted for Big Ten teams as much as I could swallow the pride to do so, and see, teams that were going against non-conference opponents. I want to see them remain victorious. It's one of the reasons I've actually was glad to hear that Scott Frost was let go from the Nebraska program, to see them finally, hopefully, turn the tide around, because as a Hawkeye fan, I always want to see my team win, but I want to see them win against good teams. I don't want to see them, barely roll over against South Dakota State and lose to Matt Campbell for the first time in 6 years. That being said, I was very relieved, even as a non-Husker fan, to hear that Scott Frost was let go, simply because it was going to bring competition back into the games. That I felt like there was a lot of life getting lost from that competition between the Hawks and the Huskers. I was hoping not to see a loss or anything bad happen to our team today. I'm glad they got the win, but I was still hoping for something to happen that could hopefully continue to push the needle for Brian Ferentz to – I don't think he should leave the program. I think he was perfectly fine as a line coach. I think he should go back to being a line coach. What do you think has to happen for that to be ushered out, for it to happen this year? What do you think has to happen?
For Brian to go back to coaching offensive line?
Not necessarily go back to offensive line, but get someone in to call plays, whether it be shifting to Kirk Ferentz calling plays or just anyone else.
I would say there's a 5% chance of that happening. So almost impossible at this point. Not impossible, but it would be very unlikely. I would say this. I think the ideal scenario, in my opinion, Adam, would be to, if you want to save face, and Iowa had an opportunity to do this during this past off season. I've talked about it, but the ideal scenario is you get somebody in here who can kind of be a passing game coordinator. And you can, Brian can maintain his offensive coordinator title if you want. That's fine. And he can call the run plays. But you give somebody else who also coaches QBs the opportunity to be the passing game coordinator and basically call all passing plays. Because, Brian doesn't understand the quarterback position. He doesn't understand the passing game. That's fine. I'm not knocking him for it. It's just, it is what it is. But that would at least save face. And I don't think I have any reason to think Brian is not capable of calling a good game if he can just focus on the running game. I would like that. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It's the tough thing, especially, knowing that Petrus is still a kid. I never want to see him get booed off the field. I never want to see our offense get booed off the field. I don't like seeing that. The thing is finding where people can contribute. If you can't contribute in the passing game, which, frankly, Brian doesn't, then finding a spot where he did find a whole lot of success as the line coach. Coaching the 2015 Outland Trophy winner, having multiple picks in the first 2-3 rounds of the NFL draft on our line consistently. I think that's where he found the most success. And that's not saying that Ferentz hasn't coached, coordinated games that haven't been the most fun to watch. My favorite game that I remember to this day, still considering I'm fairly young, has been that 2017 Ohio State game where we absolutely smashed them. And it was a beautiful combination between defense and offense, but it was consistency and offense. And every time I see Petrus make a mistake, yes, of course, that's his mistake, but it's such a reflection of the QB coaching. His impatience, him being scared of South Dakota State defenders, whereas you saw Nate Stanley stand firm and still against Ohio State Nick Bosa, it's really a reflection of the whole offensive coaching lineup that I think just needs to change. And as I've Kirk Ferentz has been coaching the Hawkeyes longer than I've been alive. I was born in 2000. All right, so he's been coaching the Hawks longer than I've been alive. I've only ever known him as Papa Ferentz. You know, I've got to meet him on several occasions, and as much as I love him as a coach, being such a tempered guy and such a well-meaning coach and someone who looks out for our players, I have to wonder how many more years can we get out of this before we start winning championships, because 2015 should have been a championship year for us, and we got a heartbreaker from Michigan State. And I've seen championship blood in our defense, in our special teams, and LeVar Woods has created such a beautiful thing to watch from special teams.
Mm-hmm.
It's really frustrating. It feels like you're going in circles, and it feels like we're so close but so far because we just can't get over that offensive hump. Even though we did score 27 points today, you have to wonder how much of that was just because of such a poor Nevada defense. When we go against any Big Ten team, that I have a feeling it's going to be back down to under 14.
I hear you. I do believe that if you know, I saw someone make a comment here that I don't know if this is a serious comment. Hawkeye fans, it's too negative tonight. I can't handle it. I didn't think I was being negative. I'm just trying to temper expectations. You know, that we can get high on results in one night. I don't know if anybody's high at 2 o'clock in the morning. Maybe high in a different way, but not high on results. I agree with you in a lot of what you just said. I do believe Iowa's going to have problems when they go up against the likes of Wisconsin. Honestly, Purdue's defense, although the second half today didn't look very good against Syracuse. I didn't get to watch the majority of that. But Wisconsin, certainly Michigan, Ohio State. I just don't know how they're going to score points. And that's not – it's got nothing to do with what we saw today, because I just don't think you can evaluate really much of anything when you're watching – Iowa play one of the worst teams in the FBS. And right now, I think Nevada's probably one of the 30 worst teams in the FBS. So they're going to have problems scoring points on anybody. And that offensive line has a long ways to go. Matt Millen mentioned that at the end of the broadcast, but he that was an understatement. They got a long ways to go.
Yeah, it was difficult watching players get free. It was similar to watching the Oklahoma-Nebraska game. I was watching that this morning, and every other play there would be an Oklahoma player that just went right through the line, headed straight for Casey Thompson. The poor guy was getting murdered out there. And if it weren't for the fact that Petrus had his head on a little bit straighter today and was getting the ball out, I mean, give credit to Petrus where it's due. He was getting the ball out quicker, and he was thinking a little bit more on his feet. That was something that was needed against Iowa State.
I agree.
But I've seen a lot of criticism towards the defense, you know, and even Riley Moss said that the loss falls on the defense just as much as the Iowa's offense to Iowa State. And I understand where he's coming from, and I can't speak from a player's perspective, but I know you can win a hell of a lot of games allowing 10 points. You can't win too many scoring 7. And as much as there may seem to be negativity, that negativity is coming out of, I want to see these young men succeed, especially when they have the pieces of the puzzle together for the tied 6th ranked defense and one of the best, if not the best, special teams unit on the football field this year. That there just needs to be something on offense, whether it's you're throwing a flea flicker every play, but you just need to get a little bit more creative to step outside the box, because you can't run a pro-style offense with a line that can't push back, you know, a 6-foot, 200-pound guy.
Yeah, and the response to someone here in the chat who says, not this comment about snoring, the comment about Houston Kelly, he's nowhere near Derrick Henry size. I didn't say he was. I don't think I said he was. Well, he's actually not that far away, Houston Kelly. When he got here, before he got here, Kirk Ferentz claimed that Caleb Johnson was closer to 6'1.5", and I think he said 220, 225. Derrick Henry's not that much bigger. Now he is bigger, but I'm just saying this kid's a true freshman who just got to campus, didn't even go through weight training this summer. So, I guess he would have went through. I'm trying to think when he would have enrolled. My mind's not working this late at night. But my point is, he's a true freshman. So you get him in the weight program for a year or two. I'm just saying he could shoot up. I don't think you need to have any bigger as far as height. Derrick Henry's a freak. I think Derrick Henry's closer to 6'2.5", 6'3", probably 230. But Braylon Allen is a fair comparison. If you look at Braylon Allen's numbers out of high school and what he was last year as a freshman, I don't think that's an unfair comparison to make.
My biggest concern is from that quarterback position. I want to see Spencer Petras get a fair shot. I feel like the fact that there's been marginal improvement from, people have been throwing out that stat line from the last few games of last year where he had combined for a total of 1 touchdown and 9 interceptions. Obviously, that stat changed a bit today. It is a team game where you have the receivers working with the quarterback, like the gentleman before me mentioned about Nico snagging that what was surely going to be an interception.
No. What a catch! First of all, not to interrupt you, what a catch by Nico. That was a heck of a catch.
Yeah, fantastic. It was. That's one of the most aggressive wide receiver plays you can make, and it was just a beauty to see. To have the awareness that and just the strength to pull it out of the other guy's hands. It is a team game in the sense that everybody has to do their part. And I heard talks from Big Ten spokespeople around earlier this week saying that it's going to be a difficult thing to put Padilla in, that it might make things worse. And to that I say, we do have the 127th ranked offense prior to the day going into the game. I don't see that it can get much worse. Petras had a 3.4 QB rating. And a lot of it was his receivers making extra room for him. Obviously, it's a wonderful thing that we have Nico and Keegan Johnson back. But it shouldn't necessarily matter entirely who you're throwing to, because the last couple of games, there were balls that were off. Do you think there's a point in time at all that you could see in the Rutgers game that Padilla would step on the field, or do you think Ferentz is going to be too stubborn?
I don't understand why he wasn't on the field tonight. I don't understand in the fourth quarter. I mean, it's obvious that Kirk is just absolutely set on Spencer is the future, because why would you not? I mean, Alex hasn't taken a snap this year. I mean, I don't understand when you're up 27-0 in the fourth quarter, and basically all Petras is doing is handing the ball off. So it's not like you can make the argument, well, he's trying to get his starter confidence. Well, he's handing the ball off. So why not get even Joey Labus in there so we can get some snaps under the lights against a team not named Iowa? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Wouldn't expect Alex Padilla to play. Now, if Spencer is terrible in the first half and they're struggling, man, I don't know. I can't predict Kirk anymore. Adam, I really can't. I just don't know what's going through his mind and how he looks at the quarterback position anymore. I guess how I'd sum up today is I would have liked to have seen somebody in the fourth quarter, somebody else, especially since, somebody brings up in the chat how, Iowa had a bunch of 2s and 3s in there, but Petras stayed in. I don't know if that means you have no confidence in your backups or you're just set on gaining confidence for Petras. But it just seems to me, Adam, that Iowa is absolutely locked in on Spencer is our man. And we want to make it very clear that Spencer is our guy. And that's just what it seems like to me. That seems like the message that Iowa's portraying each and every week.
Yeah, I can definitely get behind that message if the results follow. I don't really feel comfortable taking too much of a chance now that we're entering Big Ten play. We've already lost to Iowa State, being one of the biggest rivals that we have, I don't feel comfortable necessarily staking young men's careers on it, because it's more than just, winning or losing. Charlie Jones has more offense than the Iowa Hawkeyes do at Purdue, and I'm happy for him. I want to see him succeed, because he wasn't getting the opportunity at Iowa that he is getting at Purdue. And I'm happy to see that. I want to see Kurt Ferentz succeed. I want to see Petras succeed if he can. But, showing similar to Thursday Night Football when Justin Herbert clearly broke his ribs against the Chiefs and he stayed in that game. Yeah, he had a couple great passes afterward, but you also have to weigh the fact that how much is he going to be hurting himself, which in turn hurts the team. And I don't want to see Ferentz put himself up on a cross for Petras the way that Frost did for Adrian Martinez, and the way that, Herbert might be sacrificing himself to a worse outcome than necessary. I want to see the rest of the team succeed, and I'm afraid that if he does stake too much on Petras, that it could hurt the rest of the team, especially because it's more than, like I said, it's more than just wins and losses. It's the longevity of these guys who have pro potential going to make big money.
I agree. I agree with everything you just said. Anything else, Adam?
Well, that's it. No, I think that's it for me. I think I should head to bed. I don't have work tomorrow, but I can't stay up too late.
Yeah, I got an engagement early, so I appreciate you calling in, sir. And we'll be back with Don Patterson tomorrow night at 7. Or, I'm sorry, tonight at 7.
You have a good rest of your night.
Thanks, Adam. Great stuff. And in response to HROT88, where is Don? Don is, he had an engagement this evening, and so he will be joining us tomorrow, today, 7 p.m. Sunday. Let's just stick with Sunday. I don't want to skip over these super chats. Erica, thank you so much, Erica. She says, here's the rest of your pop. Go Hawks. So Erica was with us during the weather delay live stream and gave a $5 super chat, which I appreciated. And I just was joking with her. And I said that YouTube takes 30%. So what is that, $3.50 that she actually gave me? So now there's the other $3.50. So there's a $7 pop from Kinnick. So next time I'm in Kinnick, Erica, now I have pop money. So thank you, Erica. Appreciate that. Want to remind everybody of a couple things here before we get to our other super chat, and a couple comments I wanted to get to before we leave. If you're interested in sponsoring this show, specifically our show with Coach Patterson, because normally we'd have Coach Patterson with us. We'll have him with us Sunday night at 7. Email me from the eye of the storm at outlook.com, not from the Hawkeye of the storm. In this case, the email is from the eye of the storm at outlook.com. All right. Inquire about sponsorships. Also, if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at From the Hawkeye. You can also like the page on Facebook, which I need to do a better job of promoting, From the Hawkeye of the Storm on Facebook. Oink, oink. Thank you for the super chat. Oink, oink. Texting in from the farm. He says, Iowa was desperately trying to cover that 24. Yeah, that's why they were having Petras throw it so much in the fourth. I don't know about that, but I appreciate that comment. And I appreciate the super chat. Oink, oink. But they did cover the number, didn't they? Interesting. And yes, Eric, it wasn't a matter of Coach P wanting to stay up, but we knew Coach P wasn't going to be here all along, which probably worked out for the best. So it'll be nice to be able to be live with him tomorrow night. Doc P says, what is Rutgers' strength? I'm going to pull up Rutgers' schedule because they beat Temple today, but Temple's not a great football team. Right now, Rutgers is 3-0. With wins on the road at Boston College, 22-21, a win against Wagner, 66-7, and that may make you furrow your brow a bit, a 66 burger on Wagner, and then Temple, 16-14. That team knows how to play defense, folks. So keep track of the defensive numbers there. They gave up 21 on the road against Boston College, a decent program. I'm certainly not quantifying them as an upper echelon team. That is a decent program in Boston College. Gave up 7 to Wagner and 14 on the road at Temple. Now, I don't know why they're playing at Temple in the first place. I get that is that a rivalry? I don't think it's a rivalry, is it? I don't know. keep track of those East Coast rivalries. But my point is, Rutgers, Greg Schiano knows how to coach defense. So Iowa's going to be tested next week on the offensive side of things. So was there actual improvement? We'll see next week. And it's a great tune-up for the Michigan game. And listen, I don't know who I'm going to pick next week. I mean, we'll see. I don't know. I don't know who I'm picking in that game next week. We'll have to talk about it. I'm anxious to get Don's opinion on Rutgers and what they bring, because that'll be a tricky one out east, especially going all the way out to Piscataway. Iowa had a tough game out there in 2016, I believe. 14-7, I believe. Eric says basically exactly what we expected for this game, aside from the craziness of the delays, but outside of just trying to throw the deep balls against a terrible defense. Did Petrus or the offense look better? And I'll have all these stats queued up for tomorrow, folks, during our show with Coach Patterson, but I just don't have the energy. Petrus, 14 to 26 tonight, 175 through the air, 6.7 per attempt, 1 touchdown, no pick. He did nearly throw a pick, Nico Regani throw, but he didn't. Nico came back for it and helped out Spencer, so that's a positive. And let me see here. Did Keegan Johnson play tonight? Yes, he did, and played early. I don't know if I'm sure he was on a snap limit, but he did play. That's positive. Remember people talking about him not playing all season. The rumors out there, right? I never bought into those necessarily, but there were rumors out there, and it was nice to see Regani play. Regani again made some nice. I don't think he had a single drop in this game, which he struggled with at times last year. He hasn't been great since his redshirt freshman year. So it'll be nice if they can get a career year out of Nico Regani. Boy, that would help the offense immensely. Matthew says, hard to judge a team that was off the field for 4 out of 7 hours. Valid point. Amber, Petrus was just throwing Hail Marys like he should have since last season when Padilla outshined him. Dude Muscle, we're winning it all this year. Iowa State was a fluke. Yeah, they'll get in the college football playoff at 12-1, Dude Muscle. And, yeah, that'll be nice. Let's bring on Alabama, bring on Georgia. I think I'd take Iowa against Georgia, right? Sure. Can you imagine Georgia's defense against Iowa's offense? Let's not even go there. Boy, Georgia's offense looks really good, too. They are just destroying teams right now. Destroyed South Carolina, destroyed Oregon, who came back and destroyed BYU today. That's a really good Georgia team. Might be better than last year. All right, folks. Last call on the phone lines. And otherwise, here's what we're going to do. Please subscribe. A reminder to please subscribe. If you haven't subscribed already, I don't know what you're waiting for, because we're bringing content all month long, all year long. Special guests, live shows, post-game shows, podcasts, everything, the whole shebang, news, notes, everything. Please also hit the like button. It does help the channel. If you're not able to donate, I understand everybody's circumstances. Some are hard up for cash right now. I get that. We're living in tough times. But you can at least hit the like button. That helps. And share the show out on social media. That always helps. I mentioned sponsoring the show. If you want to reach out from the eye of the storm at outlook.com. Certainly, or even mentioning it to a local business that you think would be a good partnership fit for what we're doing here from the Hawkeye of the Storm. And also, certainly appreciate everybody who gives via Super Chat. But just so you're aware, YouTube does take 30% of the Super Chats. Not telling you shouldn't do that. I do appreciate all the Super Chats, but there's another way to donate that is more cost-effective for you and for me. Beneficial for both parties, right? You're not given 30% to YouTube by means of Super Chat when you donate by PayPal, Cash App, Venmo. Links to all of those third-party companies are in the description below. So you can donate to the channel by means of any of those links. And again, we will be back with you Sunday night. So tonight/tomorrow, whatever you want to call it. Iowa Postgame with Coach John Patterson live, featuring your phone calls, your chats, as always. And we'll talk about this game in more depth. I know Coach Patterson will break it all down, and I'll try to have a little bit more to say when my mind is somewhat rested. It's going to be an early morning for me, but we'll get through it. So appreciate you all, folks. I got 100. I think we're topped around 160 between the two channels, broadcasting on both Iowa football, the voice of college football, and from the Hawkeye of the Storm. T. Leibs says anyone who is in here at 2:30 in the morning is a subscriber. I'm going to take your word on that, T. Leibs. Appreciate you being here. I know you're a subscriber. All right, folks, we'll talk to you Sunday, tomorrow night, tonight, whatever, 7 p.m. with Coach Patterson. Iowa 2-1 as we head into Rutgers week. Take care.